This conference will now be recorded.
Okay. Okay, I just share my screen. So in the previous session, we talked about rule context preparation and dynamic agent, but because of the system issue, we could not execute that. So first, today we will see the execution of this, and then today we will continue with the parallel processing and email notification. So the first thing is rule context preparation. So in the rule context preparation, first try to look into the configuration part and then quickly recap what we have done technically, and then we will see the execution. So the first thing what we have done in MDG IMG for rule context preparation, we created a separate change request type, and the change request type we created, that is YMAT01, which is having this detail: single object, entity type is material, this is the workflow template, and these are all the entity types, and this is the business activity, which is for the creation scenario. Okay, so now with this change request type, so it's already saved. So now move to the rule based workflow. So in the rule based workflow, so this is the single value decision table. So if I quickly see the process, so first is 0000 means the submission. Once the change request submit, it goes to verifier. Okay, and you can see the new change request status is to be approved by verifier. Then next is verifier. So verifier is having two scenario, that is approve and reject. First we list down the approve scenarios, and then we list down the rejection scenarios. So first is approve. So when verifier approve, it goes to the approver, and also you can see the status is to be approved by approver. And then approver, when approver approves, so then it goes for the activation. So you can see this is activation, and the status is to be activated. So these are all approved scenario. Now coming to the verifier and approver rejection scenario. So if they reject, then the information will go back, revision. So revision, here we have taken an individual step itself. So in the revision, what is happening, the change request return back to the requester, because requester is the owner of the request. So if anything is rejecting, that will ideally go back to the requester, then to be revised. Then revision. Then revision will have again two scenarios. One is resubmit, another one is withdraw. So if it is resubmit, then again it will go to the same cycle, like verifier, approver, then activation, etc., etc. But if it is withdraw, then what is going to happen? Then it is going to be rollback. So this is the rollback scenario. So in the rollback, once the rollback complete, then we can say that the process is complete and final check rejected, not approved, rejected, because you roll back the process. So whatever the data you have so far, that will be revert back and complete the process. But if it is activation, so again activation will have two phases: activation successful and activation unsuccessful. So if it is successful, then it is complete. Then it is complete, final check approved. But if it is not successful, so the reason for the not successful could be anything. It could be some data issue, or it could be some connection issue, or it could be anything. So in that case, what is going to happen? The the process will again back to the verifier. That means again the initial stage it will start. So verifier, then approver, then activation, etc. So this is the process for the single value decision table. Then non-user agent decision table. Non-user agent decision table, where we have activation, rollback, and completion. These three activities which is listed here. Now coming to the user agent decision table. But before doing the user agent decision table, the idea about this example was that make sure the scenario is that based on a specific material type, I want the workflow should move to the next level. So if that is the requirement, then how I will proceed with. So because of that reason, we have taken the rule context preparation. So then in order to get the material type in the process, the first thing which we did, that is to add them in the BRF plus application. So in the BRF plus application contained object, data object, and you can see we have added here the material type as an element. Then the same material type in the trigger function, we also include in the trigger function table, this one. And then finally, we came to the user agent decision table, go to the table settings, and then add in the table settings the material type field. Now the question is whether I only should have one field or I can have more than one field. Of course, you can have more than one field. That's not a problem at all. So you can add as many as field you want, and then that field will be visible as a part of the column of this user agent decision table. Okay. So that's the idea about to bring the material type in the user agent decision table, because in the user agent decision table, the approval and the rejection take place. So because of that reason, whenever I entered this material type AEM, which is nothing but the sample material type. So the sample material type is in the condition with the approval and the rejection process. Okay. So if it is approved and if it is having this particular material type, then only it will go to this user SAP user. That means this system user. Similarly, for the next level, which is for approver, again material type AEM, and then the approved scenario, then it will go to the again next level SAP user, because I have only one user. Otherwise, I can have multiple users in the place. Then the next one is the revision or the rejection. So if it is reject, then what happens? Then it will go to the initiator. Okay, this will go to the initiator, because as I mentioned, that whenever something reject, it will ideally back to the initiator, because initiator is the owner of the request. Okay. So this is the BRF plus area which has been designed. Now, along with that, because in service body, because it is a part of service body process, service body. And in service body, we have BRF plus section and also above body section. So in the above body section, if I go to SE18, USMD SSW service processor, and under this enhancement spot, you can see there are 4 different bodies which is available. So the one which we are looking for, that is rule context preparation. Go to the implementation, and this is our implementation. This is the one. This is enhancement implementation name. This is body implementation name, followed by the class name. This is the class name and the methods. So if I see the method, I can see what is happening. First is call method read material. First, we are trying to read the material number, where we are passing the change request number, and in return we are getting the material details. Why we are reading the material number? Because we need to pass the information from the change request, that what kind of material type has been entered in the change request. And based on that, the information will pass to the BRF plus table. And in the BRF plus table, based on that, the judgment will make. So first is the read material. Second method is the read C request, change request. Here also we provide the change request number, and in return we will get the change request details. And then we have the get element ID, which is another method. The idea about this get element ID is to get the information about the field which I am looking for, which is nothing but material type, and then pass that same field to the BRF plus table. Okay, so pass this information to the BRF plus table, and in the BRF plus table, need to add the service name here. So what is service name? In the body also you can see filter value, and in the filter value we have the service name. So why this service name is all about? Because this is above body and we have BRF plus. So this filter value create a bridge between the above body and the BRF plus level. Okay. So that's why this value you can see here under the CR type related service name. Okay. Now I'm going to execute this. Material governance. So what is going to happen? I will create 2 scenarios. One with the material type AEM, which is sample material. Another one without the sample material. And then we'll see what is the difference which is appearing. So the material type is AEM. You can see the AEM value from here, if you are not aware about this. AEM is sample material. Industry sector, let's say 1. Test scenario 1. Submit. Now, as I have maintained the material type AEM, so it is supposed to go to the next level. See, to be approved by verifier. So it is now moved to the next level. Okay. Now I will create one more scenario where we'll give the material type something else. So let's say ABF, waste material. Now submit. Now according to the scenario, it should not move to the next level. Rather, it will go somewhere else because the condition does not meet here. The material type, which is different here. So that's what you can see here in my change request. So this is the two requests which we have created just recently. So 124, you can see it is now moved to the next level, which is verify level. But 1225, this change request, you can see if I go to the workflow log, it is nowhere. See, at some point it is now getting error. Why? Because based on this material type, there is no condition defined. That's the reason. Okay. So this is the rule context preparation, which was pending to execute. Now coming to the dynamic agent selection. Similarly, just quickly recap what we have done in dynamic agent selection. So the first thing which we did, that is to create the change request type. So I think this one, let's see. Okay. This is the main entity type, workflow template, etc. So copy this, go to the configure rule-based workflow. Now, in the decision table, here also we have a similar decision table, but little simpler. Because in the previous example, we had a requester, verifier, and approver. Here we have only two steps, requester and verifier. There is no approver. I tried to make it simple, that's what. So first is processing. So processing means it will go to the next level, which is nothing but the verifier. Similarly, verifier will have two options, approve and reject. Don't get confused with the activate and send for revision. This is the same action, which is nothing but approve and reject. Okay. So if it is approve, then the activation continue. And if it is revise or reject, then the revise change request step arrived. So then activation. So then activation again will have two phase, activation successful, activation unsuccessful. If it is activation successful, then the change request will process. And if it is not successful, then again it will back to the verifier. Then we have rollback as usual. So rollback is nothing but a completion of the process. And then we have the revision. So revision, resubmit and withdraw. If it is resubmit, then it will go again to the verifier level. And if it is withdraw, then it will go for the rollback. Okay. Then user agent decision table. So in the user agent decision table, we have here only shown the rejection scenario. Why not approval scenario? Because approval scenario will be picked from the table. Okay. Then non-user agent decision table. So which is having the activation, completion and rollback. These are all. Now in this case, I need not to do all the BRF plus application or anything. But here we have one more thing to observe under the single value decision table. Here you can see the dynamic agent selection. So the dynamic agent selection is a standard field which is appearing because of this new change request. Okay. Because of this, so what is happening here? So whenever a change request gets submitted, it comes to the verifier. Here is a verifier, here is a verifier, and here is a verifier. So what happened when it comes to the verifier end, it is required to decide that who will receive the change request. That's what we define the dynamic agent selections name, the service name over here, and the same service name we utilize in the program. So now if I go to the program, so dynamic selection, and this is the program. So this is the enhancement implementation. This is the body, and this is the program where we have a read material and the method. And in the program, what is happening? First, we are taking a structure within the data declaration where we define the structures having the material group and the agent details, and then creating the internal table and the work area, and followed by some more details. Then we call that service name, the service name which we define in the BRA plus in the decision table, I mean. So first we read the change material. The input file is the change request number. Based on that, we extract the material number. Then we have this table in place, MATKL. In data dictionary, if I see, so we have a table which is having material, group, and agent, and I just maintain one value. This is the material group, and this is the agent, because I have only one agent. If I have multiple agents, so based on the material group, so we can define that. So that means if the material group is this one, it will pick this agent automatically. So that's what I need not to define any additional step under the user agent decision table for approval scenario categorically. Okay. Because here, based on the field value, it is picking the agent. So select query. So what is happening? First, it is checking whether the material group which we have in the change request, whether it is the same material group which defined in the table, and if that is not initial, and if that is right, then what is happening? Then we are giving the instruction that pick the value of the agent which is defined respect to the material group in this table. So that is what we are defining here. Okay, because it is in now work area, so it's a part of a work area, and then finally it push the data. Now I can try with the execution. So create material, dynamic, I can give some value, Now the important is the material group. Material group, which one I need to give? This one. Then only it will pick SAP user, otherwise not. This one. Now submit. Now see, it is now next, move to the next level where you can activate or send for revision. So activate. So activate this. Final check approved. And this is the material number. Okay. So this is nothing but the dynamic agent selection. So dynamically picking the value from the table where we define the agent details with respect to the material group. Now you can say, okay, based on, not based on material group, but based on a material type, I will pick. That is also fine. So instead of material group, you can define material type or any other field. Now next is parallel processing. So parallel processing. So first I have a scenario. So let me first execute the scenario. Then I will come to the configuration part. So the change request type which is taken here, that is this one, ymat underscore PA. You can take a different name, that is not a problem. Now, again, I will give very simple information, at least the minimum details. And submit. Now, so far what was happening, so far, whenever we submit, the data goes to the next level, and that is only means it goes to the one user. The next user is nothing but a single user. But if I see now, in this case, the workflow log, what you can see that the change request submit, and now it goes to the two different team or two different places. However, because I have only one username, so I kept both of them SAP user, but actually it is going to the two different people. So if I have more than one user, I can probably assign this user and this user different. So you can differentiate that. But for now, I have only one user. So that's what I am defining both of them under the same user. But they are actually the different work items which is created. Normally, one work item create when you proceed with some approvals or some submissions. But here I have only two work items. That means at some point of time, my workflow is running parallelly. So how it looks like if I just define this in a presentation manner. So this is requester. So requester submit. After the submission, let's say I'm just giving some name, verifier 1 and verifier 2. Okay. So verifier 1 is, let's say this one, this work item 1728875, and verifier 2 is nothing but 1728868. Okay. So the first thing what I will do, I will approve them. So changes are not allowed. So either you have approve or reject. So let's continue with the approval. So once you approve, now go to the workflow log and you can see the one work item is completed, but another work item is yet to complete. So if I again in a picture, if I define, so this is complete and this is yet to complete. Okay. Now let's try again to approve the second one, the second work item. Okay. So once this is done, so now this is completed as well. Now once this is completed, then we have, let's say, approvers. Let's see, refresh work item. See here, only one work item created and now these two approved, completed. Okay. So this is now, let's say, approver. I'm giving the name. Now you can approve again. So approve now. Okay. Then what next? Workflow log again. Then one more level of approval. So basically this is the completed. Then we have final approval. Final approval, let's say. Now if I approve this, still here I can see the material number is in temporary number. Now I'm going to approve it. So as soon as I approve this, I can see final check approved and the material number is now permanent number. Okay, and then it is activated. So if this is the pictorial diagram, then I can easily say that at some point of time, the process run parallelly. So that is nothing but the parallel processing. Okay. So in this parallel processing, what exactly we have done? So the first thing is we have taken the change request type. So this is the change request type, which is having the main entity type material and the workflow template. Now with this, when I see the rule-based workflow, okay. Now this is little lengthy and little bit complicated. Now here, first of all, I will try to make it close all the necessary columns so it will be easy to understand. Okay. Now what is happening? 0, 0. So once it is 0, 0, this is the first step, condition alias 1. What happened? That it comes to a level. So what is that? That is 0, 1. So what is 0, 1? So the moment requester submit, technically we come to the level 0, 1. 0, 1. Okay. So this is the technical level, which does not have any functional existence, but it is a technical existence it has. So in 0, 0, what is happening? That is, again 0, 0 will have two different work items, which is verifier 1 and verifier 2, which we define here as a 11 and 12 as a new step, 0, 0, 1. This is 11 and this is 12. Then what next? The next is, once this step is done, then we come to the 0, 2. 0, 2 will have approve, means 0, 2 and 0, 3. Approve, reject, which is nothing but here 0, 2 and 0, 3. 0, 2, 0, 3. Okay. So 0, 2 having approve and reject, 0, 3 is also having approve and reject. Fine. Then it comes to, if it is approve, then it comes to 90. This one. 90. Okay. 90 active means approve and reject. Then if it is approve, then 91. And if it is reject, then 95, which is revision. 91, which is, we can consider, hold on. This is, okay. 0, 2, 0, 3, 90. This is actually 0, 2. This is 0, 2. Both are 0, 2. Same level. This is 0, 3. This is 0, 3. And this is 90. Okay. This is how it looks. This is 0, 2, 0, 3, and 90. And then you have activation. So activation successful, activation unsuccessful, and then you have, as usual, 95, which is revision. If it is revision, then resubmit and withdraw. If it is resubmit, which is 92, if it is withdraw, which is 92, that is rollback. So rollback, that is final check, rejected. So then it is the same process which we just discussed again and again. So this is the single value decision table. Then coming to the user agent decision table, these are all condition alias, and these are all approve and rejection scenarios based on the user. And then the non-user agent decision table, which is completion, activation, and rollback. These are all scenarios. Along with that, we have one more activity, which is nothing but here I can see in the merge parameter, we have the service name for, this is the service name for the parallel processing. Okay, this is the service name. And the service name, you can see where exactly after the submission, when after the requester submit, when the workflow trigger, at that point it trigger, because as per this requirement, as soon as requester submit, the workflow will basically divide into two work items and will run parallel. So that's what we have this. We have this merge parameter in place where we have this 0 1 processing. Okay. Now coming to the same way body part, and here we have parallel result handler. In the parallel result handler, this is the enhancement which we created. This is the enhancement implementation, body implementation, and implementing class. And this is the method. So here in this method, what is happening? This is some data declaration which is having some constant value for reject, for merge step, for approve. Rejection means action is 04, approve is nothing but 03, and merge step is 02. Okay. Then we are taking the loop. Loop with what? Loop with the internal table, IT step action. This IT step action is also, this is the work item which is part of this structure. And then what is happening, that we are taking this work item action is first reject means 04, then merge action. If it is reject, which is nothing but 04, then the merge step will be 02. What is this meaning? This meaning, check whether at least one steward reject the request. The result is to reject. So that means what? In the scenario where we have verifier 1 and verifier 2, if any one of the work item gets rejected, either by verifier 1 or verifier 2, the whole request will consider as a reject and it will go back to the requester again. That is what it is trying to say in this step. Okay. Or if it is not in the case, if it is just a approve, in the case of no steward reject, the result is to be approved. Then it will continue with the approval. Okay. So that is the only check in this case we have. If any one work item is rejected, then the rejection will get the priority and will go back to the requester. That's the thing. So this is the parallel processing. So I just show you the execution. So here is the final check approve. and this is the change request details. If I go to the workflow log, see, this is a, so it was first initially 2 work item. So we completed 2 work item, then approver, and then final approver. So total 4 activities which happened. See, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So this is the parallel processing. So any question on parallel processing? Okay. So now I'm coming to the email notification. So regarding the email notification, what is happening again? Let me show you the configuration for the email notification. So I have taken separate change request type for that. Create change request type. So this is this one, ymat_e. So this is the change request type which we have taken for the email notification. This is the change request type. Now this change request go to the rule-based workflow. Decision table and single value decision table. So here, this is more or less same scenario which we have seen particularly for the rule context preparation, but I will explain again. Okay. Now, when is 0, when requester submit, it goes to the verifier. Now, verifier approve, it goes to approver. Approver approve, it goes for the activation. This is the approval scenario. Then verifier reject, it goes to the revision. Similarly, approver reject, it goes to the revision. Then revision will have 2 cases, resubmit and withdraw. If it is resubmit, then again it will come to the verifier stage, then continue with verifier, approver, etc. If it is withdraw, then it will come back to the rollback. Now activation will have 2 situations. If it is activation successful, then the new step which has been introduced here, that is email notification. So email notification will trigger. Okay. Then once the email notification trigger, then after the triggering of the email notification, the process complete, which is nothing but final check approved. Another case, activation, which is activation unsuccessful, then it will go back to the verifier. And finally, rollback. Once the rollback complete, then it will complete. So the only step which has been introduced, which is after the successful activation, the email notification will trigger for the requester. Okay, that is the step which needs to be triggered here. Then user agent decision table as it is, which is having approve and reject scenario. Okay, then we have the non-user agent decision table. In the non-user agent decision table, again more or less same, just we need to add the email notification step, where the process pattern be defined as a synchronous system method. And this is the service name. Now this service name, what we need to do, we need to utilize in the in the above body. So similarly, go to the above body section. So every service body, you can see one hand we have BRA plus, another hand we have above body. So this is this one. As USMD SSW system method caller. Go to the implementation, and this is the enhancement. So this is the enhancement name, this is the body name, and this is the implementing class. Now method. So these are all few declarations which has been taken. Okay. Basically, if you remember the API classes, I have used some API classes, which is application programming interfaces. So API classes for data model, material entity type, etc. So these are all few declarations. The main part starts from here. So we call the service name, and the service name is here. We also define the service name in the filter value section. Okay. So this is the service name. Now, when we call this service name, what is happening? First, we call the method getInstance. Why getInstance? Because we need the details about the change request. Okay. So this is the getInstance of CL USMD C request API, change request API. So we are providing the change request number, and in return, we are getting the change request details. Then we read the change request, and then we have the change request informations. Once we have the change request information from the change request, the first thing which we will get it, that is the status of the change request. So then we will check the same status from USMD 130T table. So USMD 130T is the table where we have the different status. So you can see this is the different status, including the foreign languages. Okay, so these are all different status. You can see our custom status also be available here. Sorry. Okay, so these are all custom status. Okay. So the idea is, once I have the change request details, definitely I will also have the change request status. So in this change request status, I will check the status with USMD 130T table. Okay. And will check whether the status is present or not. That means the change request which is we are processing, that is having the status which present in the system or not. If it is having, then we will have the function module. So this is the custom function module where we have the change request number, change request created by, and the change request status. So up to this method contains. Okay. Now everything which is happening with this function module. So basically in this function module, we create the subject line of the mail, the body of the mail, and who is the recipient to whom we need to send that mail ID, the recipient mail ID. Okay. So now if I go to this particular AC37, which is function module, you can see as a importing parameter, we have change request ID, we have username who created this, and the status of the change request, and go to the source code. Again, few declaration. Then we have the first thing which we need to understand, that is the email address, whether the email address of the requester is not initial. If it is initial, then nothing is going to happen. It will simply come out from there. If it is not initial, then only it will start creating the subject line, creating the body of the mail, etc., etc. Okay. Then next is create subject. So we use here the subroutine concept. So subroutine concept says perform form. Okay. So first is perform create subject. This is for the create subject, and we have, these are all changing parameters. Similarly, we have for create body, body of the mail, and these are all changing parameters. And then we have set the recipient to whom to send the person, that person mail ID. Okay. So hello message is nothing but, if you see, this is the reference to this class. And what is that? This class having the method called set subject, set main document, that means the body of the mail, the sender details, recipient details, attachment, etc. Okay. So add recipient. And then you have the set mail status, important, immediate, send immediately or not. These are all information. And finally, you have try catch, and then you have the form for the subject line. So in the subject line, what we are doing, we are saying concatenate, and this is some hard coded value. So if I say in my subject line of the mail, what will be the subject line of the mail? Subject. The subject line of the mail will be change request, which is the hard coded one, change request, and followed by change request ID, sorry, change request ID, let's say 1234, change request ID for an example. Subject of email has been completed. This is also hard coded. And finally, this information concatenation save into EV subject separated by space. Okay. This is the one. Then we have convert C request. Okay, leave that. Then body of the mail. Then coming to the body of the mail. In the body of the mail, again, I have taken some string, local variable as a string. And then this is the first hard-coded lines. Hi. Your change request for creating material has been completed. This is the second string.
Then I can also add the link for the change request, but uh, I can do that, or here I just commented out, so it's not needed. Then concatenation of change request followed by change request number has status, and then the status of the change request has status. Let's say final check approved. Okay, and that is also separated by space. Then warm regards. This is the one. So this will be your body of the mail. Yes, you can improvise this subject line, you can improvise the body of the mail, but this is a very simple format which we follow. Okay, and these are all separated by some lines, some space, etc. Then init. Init means initiator. So to whom to send this? That is the first question. So BAPI user get details. So this function module will help in order to identify to whom to send this. So execute. Okay. Now username is wait a minute. Let me unshare my screen for a while. Just a moment. Okay, let me share my screen. Okay, so I can see this is the user and this is the email ID. Okay, and first name, let's say first name and last name. Okay, now go to the function module, execute SAP user and execution. So here, not this one. Address details. Let's see. So here we have the first name, last name, full name, followed by email ID. Okay. So from here we get the email ID along with the recipient first name and last name as well. So that is what we are looking for here. This is the one. So here in this form init, the objective is to get the first name and last name of the user. That is the first thing. The second objective is here, sorry, the first objective is email ID and the second objective is the full name. So anyway, from the same function module, we are getting both of the details. Okay. And finally, we are just checking whether the change request is present in USMD 120C table. So we know USMD 120C table is nothing but which hold the change request information. So here, so this is the change request information table. Okay. So now, so if I execute now, so let's execute. Now this execution having little problem, which I identify before the meeting. So it may not execute as expected, but probably in the next session, I will fix it. So anyway, execute it. Let's see. Giving some minimum details. Okay, to be approved by verifier. So workflow is running. So now I will approve the verifier level. Now we'll go for the next level approval. Okay. Now let's see. Final check approved. Okay. Now in order to check the mail, whether the mail has been received or not, what we need to do, we need to check SOST transaction just to trigger the mail. And if I refresh, wait a minute, transmitted. No. So this one I need to check. So what is going to happen in this is the SOST transaction where you can see the send requests. So whatever the request I have sent, the request details will come here with the sender information and the recipient information. Okay. And now if you ask me that whether I can, someone can receive the mail in their Gmail ID or Rediff mail ID or whatever the mail, the exchange mailbox they have, Outlook or something else. The thing is, uh, there will be one more configuration which is required from the basis end. So what they will do, they will basically link the SAP system to the respective exchange server, the mail exchange server, whether it is Lotus Note or Outlook or Gmail or Reddit Mail. So we have a different exchange server, right? Mail exchange server. So those mail exchange server, they will connect. So what is going to happen? As soon as your mail trigger here, it will if that channel is open, obviously you cannot expect the same to be done here in IDS server, because this is the IDS server. Because in IDS server, I don't think so it is possible, because that is required some licensing and all. Okay, so it's not an easy task to do. So otherwise, in the real time project where they have a proper licensing and everything, so basis will perform those configurations. So that is something which, being a MDG developer, you need not to aware about this. That is something which is a basis activity, so they will do. The only thing which you need to bother with, that is in SOST level, whether the mail is generating or not. So at this moment, you can see it is not generating, but my program is activated successfully. So in that case, I need to debug the program and need to see where exactly the problem is having. So then accordingly, I need to fix it. Okay. So this is the mail notification, and who is going to receive the mail? Obviously the requester, because requester is the owner of the request. And from this function module, what we see, that is we are getting the requester details. Okay, so this is nothing but the email notification. However, the execution part we will discuss next week. So at least the configuration and everything we discussed today, the execution we will see in the next week. So having said that, the validations and derivations. So in this chapter, what are those topics we covered? We covered first the rule body level. We covered the single entity validation, cross entity derivation. We covered MDG APIs. Then we started with the service body. In the service body, we first started with rule context preparation, then dynamic agent selection, then parallel processing, and then email notification. Okay. So having said that, so basically with all these details, so every single details we had a demonstration, and there we have seen how we can perform this activity along with BRF plus and above body. Okay, particularly the service body section. So this is now validations and derivations, basic understanding on validations and derivation in terms of MDG processes, develop different type of service body and rule body using BRF plus decision tables in workflow. Okay, so having said that, this validations and derivation chapter is complete. So far, what are those chapters we have completed? Introduction, data model, process model, UI, then followed by workflow and validations and derivations. Now the next chapter which we are going to start with in next week probably, that is search and duplicate check. And apart from that, so how many chapters are left? Search and duplicate check, data replication and import, and enrichment of MDG topics. So this is the 3 chapters which are left. Okay. So workflow and validations and derivation. This took a little time, and intentionally I took a little time because this is not a very straightforward activity. This is a little complicated one, particularly those who does not have enough ABAP background. So that's what intentionally I took little time to execute every items with the proper demonstration. So at least they have a little understanding. Now they have documents, coding, and the video. So that will help in future as a part of reference. Okay. So any question regarding the service body and rule body categorically the validations and derivations. Any question on that?
Aditya, one question. In the email notification, you did it for the non-user decision table, right? Can we do the same thing in the user decision table also? Can we add the email notification service over there?
No, because the email notification is because the email notification is a background activity. This is not foreground activity. I mean, no user interaction is needed when you are performing the email trigger. It is something which is happening automatically through the background process. So that's what we are listed that activity under the non-user agent decision table, and we cannot listed them under the user agent decision table. Okay.
So in the context of like let's say the verifier and approver and all those things, if they need to receive an email because they received a work item for approval, how do we achieve that then?
Right. So in that case, if we want to send the mail to every levels, like approver, verifier, to every levels, that is something which we call as a extended email notification. Okay. So extended email notification, again having some set of configurations, which one second, I think I have it, so I can share with you. Just a moment. I just unshare my screen. Okay, I have one document for extended email notification. So now I'm going to share this. Okay, see. Extended notification for SAP business workflow. Notify users by email or SMS about the work items that needed to be processed. That means for approval, rejections, etc. Notifications are sent to the relevant user in the form of messages. So at present, email message, HTML or text only, and SMS messages are also supported. So the first thing which needs to be done, that is to call the transaction SWN, SEL, which is selection, notification, and send them out either and immediately or according to the delivery schedule. Has to be scheduled periodically. The first, the actual transaction start, which is this one, SWN config. So this is the screenshot of a SWN config. Okay. So what is going to happen? So here you can see the workflow in SWN config. So copy and standard category. So create, either you can use the standard category or you can create a new one with the custom one. So new email info with the custom, where you have the catalog handler, notification handler, and handler for user. So these are all standard handler class, okay, which is responsible for the email generations, the email notifications, and to identify the receivers and then send them. So these are all handler class. So now you have this category along with the standard one. Select them and double click on the assign message template. Assign message template, which is just below the category. here, and you can see email HTML. Okay, so this is what we are going to send, that is email HTML. Okay, then double click on the delivery schedule in dialog structure and create new entries as shown below. Scheduling means mail generation according to the timing. So delivery schedule, when you want to delivery the mail, so definitely it is 7 days across the clock. Okay, then double click on the subscription basic data and create new entries for shown below. Mention delivery schedule here, subscription. So this is for, again, for the delivery schedules. Email HTML, the recipient type is internet mail, and this is the delivery schedule details. Then double click on subscription setting if you need to open the inbox. So the subscription settings, so basically this is having the inbox details if you have any attachment or if you have any URL to attach with. So those details, any links, so that you can define here. Then double click on the filter basic data and create entries workflow shown below. And this is the filter basic data, okay, which is SCRAP delta. Wait a minute, something goes wrong with the file. Okay, I'm sharing again. Okay, ZSCRAP delta, which is this one. Then this is the filter details. Now, so double click on the filter setting, give X to the delta parameters. So these are all different tasks, which is basically for triggering the mails. So, and the delta parameter should be X. So double click on the schedule selection and give the filter value and choose in which are all the days to be scheduled. So this is the one which is already selected in the previous step. Then as follow the screenshot, message template delivery, message template delivery type as per the standard settings. No need to do anything. So this is the standard setting. You need not to do anything. This is the URL. If your URL is going to, so this is the basically the path where the URL is going to define. And the delivery type is again internet mail, HTML. This is the one. So this is the list of configuration with the SWN config, which needs to be followed. So I think this document is also added in the SharePoint drive. So please check and let me know. Otherwise, I will share this document. So this document, these steps will help you in order to get the mail for the verifier, for approver. So whatever the different data steward you have, so those data steward will receive the mail for the further approvals. Okay, so this is for the extended email notification. So you need not to do anything additionally for the user agent decision table. Okay.
Thanks, sir.
Yeah. Any other question anybody has? So then let me close the discussion today here. So in the next session, we will start with in the next session, we will execute the email notification, which we have designed. And then we will continue with the search and duplicate check, which is the next chapter. Okay. Okay. So if you have any question, if you have any clarification, please let me know either in the next session or over the mail. You can obviously raise the questions, the clarifications, etc. Okay. Thanks a lot. Thanks for joining this meeting. Bye-bye.